there are standards that are imposed upon us, like, you know, you're prettier if you're light skinned.
I knew people in the past that wanted to be light skinned, not for any particular reason, because they love themselves. I mean, they love themselves except for, the color of their skin.
Like, my siblings are all lighter than me, and my mom, she's dark skinned, but she's lighter than me. So like I noticed, and I was like, hey, how come I'm the darkest, and everybody else is so light? And I don't know. Since I was younger, I also considered being lighter as a form of beauty, or beautiful, more beautiful than being dark skinned. So I used to think of myself as being ugly because I was dark skinned.
Welcome back to Sister Talk with LTB. This is season 3, episode 2, guys. We are on a roll, and thank you so much for tuning in. I want to say hello and shout out all of our viewers, our new viewers, our followers, all of my Sister Talk buddies. Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys are so awesome, and we love you. Yes. I know it looks a little different today, Sister Talkers. It's just myself.
Sister Talkers?
Yeah, Sister Talkers. You know how like Nikki has the barbs and Cardi got the
right.
So we have Sister Talkers.
Right.
So yes, it does look a little different today. I am Brittany for anybody who is new, and we have baby sis Tiara and Eden. She's chilling with her snack, so you guys know how Eden does. She comes to work, but she doesn't really work. Today, we are missing one of our beautiful sisters, Miss Nisha. She did take some PTO today. So me and Tiara are holding it down for big sis.
Prepare the others, she said. Prepare the others.
We miss you, big sis. We love you. And take advantage of this much needed PTO. Okay. The PTO without the P, just the TO.
Right. I said prepare the others.
So here at Sister Talk, if you are new, we do have a beautiful mission statement that our big sister wrote for us. And I'm going to get it right, because if I do not get it right, she will beat us. Okay. So we most certainly want to make sure that we engage you in some sassy conversation. Yes, sassy conversation. Yes, you have to do the neck roll. It is important. We also want to empower you to be your authentic self. Be you, because Sister Talk, she's gonna be us. I'm gonna be Brittany. She gonna be T. I know y'all see that other beautiful face there. I'm gonna get to that. But she gonna be her too. We also want to encourage you to the next level. These last couple of years have been trying, and I know it's been trying for me, but we want to make sure that we encourage you to whatever goals you have, whatever next level type of situation you got going on. We want to make sure that we help you reach it there. So that's what we do here at Sister Talk. Like I've said before, we live by this mission statement. Nisha would not have it any other way. I don't think she don't beat us, but she do. She wouldn't have it any other way. So with that being said, I know my sisters are thugs. With that being said, of course, my favorite part of Sister Talk, besides the conversation, obviously, is our church announcements. Yes. Announcements. We gotta have our little praise break. So listen, you guys. I know you know. It is Black History Month. Okay. It is Black History Month.
Period.
And I'm just here for it. I'm here for all of the blackity black. Okay. We celebrate
all of the blackity black
all year long. But of course, this is our month, guys. So I want to see all of the baby hairs. I want to see all of the Afro puffs. You see my Afro puffs.
I mean, we got some nappy roots too, though. We ain't all got baby hairs. We got some nappy roots too.
We want you to embrace your blackness, your beautiful blackness. Show off that melanin, because it is beautiful. And it's a special message, especially for today's episode. But before I get into the topic, I do have one church announcement, just one today. So, of course, Creations by Brittany has a Black History sale. Okay, we got a sale going on. So, all of your Black History needs, like, listen, look, we got masks. Now, it has to be Black History inspired. You can't hit me up like, can I get a mask with my baby's face on it? Nah.
I mean, they Black though.
They might not be. So, Black History Month masks are going to be $7 all month long. Also, any shirt that is Black History Month inspired is going to be buy one, get one half off. And also, bags are going to be $10 for the month of February because it's Black History Month. And we love a good
Yes.
So now that we're done with our church, do you have a church announcement here? I'm sorry.
No, but you know how when you go to church and you don't see a member of the congregation, they be like, keep those you don't see in prayer. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't see Nisha here. She cool, but keep her in prayer anyway. Amen.
Amen. Because you know what? Somebody that has 24 jobs like Nisha needs some time off sometimes. So please keep her in prayer. Hallelujah. Hallelujah and amen.
Hallelujah. Yes.
All right, y'all. So I want to go ahead and move on, and discuss our topic here. So this is a very important topic to me. I have been hounding my sisters about this topic now for like 2 seasons.
Yes.
So I wanted to talk about this, but I felt like I couldn't talk about it without our special guest. So before I introduce her, I do want to tell you that we are going to be talking about colorism today. And I've learned that a lot of people don't really know what colorism is or what it means or what have you. And you know how I like to do. I go to Google. So the Google definition of colorism is prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial group. So I already knew what colorism was, but when I read the definition, I was like, that's deep, because that's Black on Black crime for real. So we're going to talk about it. So I want to go ahead and introduce our guest, guys. Look, let me tell y'all something about her, okay? She was my teacher. This is my 8th grade teacher. You know how, like, when you grow up, you always have that one or two teacher that you always be like, that was my girl. That's her. That was my girl.
Right, but you stay cool with yours. See, man, I need to find Miss Lil John. I don't know where she at. She was so cool.
Where you at, Miss Lil John?
We always
right.
We gonna find her. But until then, we got Miss D on the show today. Okay, that's what I call her. Her name's Pamela, but I call her Miss D. And of course, all of our, all the people that went to Monticello that'll be watching the show, y'all. I got Miss D on the show. Like, I made it.
Period.
I got her on the show.
All I remember is calling me grimy.
Everybody, welcome Miss D to Sister Talk. Thank you so much for coming.
Welcome with
us. I'm so excited to be here. Way too proud of you, Brittany, for what you're doing. I remember when you started your creations, and now you have this whole thing going on. You're just doing the thing.
I appreciate it, because they say every millionaire has 6 to 7 streams of income. So I'm trying to get there.
You're doing it.
Yes. Thank you once again for coming on. So colorism, I felt like this was important to talk about with you because of our history together. We can talk about that later, but I really want to know, like, when we speak of colorism, like what comes to mind for you, or what have you experienced colorism? Like, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I think, because I'm a history teacher, for me, colorism has such a rich history, and it goes back into enslavement, and it's so much a part of what we talk about in my job, which is membership and what it means to belong. And so much of colorism is when you can say that you have something that belongs to a more dominant side. So if as your proximity to whiteness is your proximity to privilege or advantages. And so even though we know that people of color, no matter what the color is, can be oppressed, when you're thinking about it historically, maybe those folks who had more higher complexion could actually benefit more by getting, like, they're seen as more beautiful, but they're also on the other side of that, they were also attacked and sexually assaulted. So those things happened because they had a proximity in the household. And so to me, it's a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, you do get the privilege of better clothing. You're probably put out more and taken care of better, but you're also close to abuse. But then when you're coming out of those situations where they're the product of, we know they're the product of sexual assault, and then they go out into the community, there is a privilege that comes with being lighter skinned because you had better privileges or better advantages. I think about the schools, the colleges that were founded by children of those relationships, or it's so hard to say relationships because it was a power dynamic, but when you're looking at Wilberforce was founded. And when Wilberforce was founded, a lot of those students who went to Wilberforce, they were the product of those kind of relationships. And so there's a number of books that talk about those students,
wow,
going through those communities and going into those universities. And then I even think about our Divine Nine, and some of the earlier sororities and fraternities had, you know, you had a paper bag test. It had to be the color of a paper bag. You had to be able to run your a comb through your hair, or you couldn't be admitted. And yesterday,
wow,
I was actually looking at there was something called Blue Vein Societies, and they were churches involved in that too. So if you couldn't see your veins, you wouldn't get into the church. And so we talk a lot about membership has its privileges. So your proximity to whiteness gives you that membership, and that membership gives you entry into certain places where you can feel like you can be a part of something, or in some cases just erase that side of you that maybe isn't so advantageous to have. It's a lot, but just I think when I think about colorism, I am fascinated by it, because the part of colorism that's really connects for me is the passing situation, where people actually pass for white. When you take colorism to the extreme. And if you look at one of my favorite cities is New Orleans, their whole history is about the lighter skinned folks in that area who had privileges, and they benefited from being from those mixed relationships, or those mixed that mixed descent. And so, you know, I can go on and on about that, but those are all the things that are in my head. It's the passing, it's being your proximity to whiteness, it's being better than you think. You're thinking you're better than your darker skinned sisters, which we're all, you know, all people of color. White people are looking at us are light skinned and dark skinned. White people are looking at us as Black. You know, and the funny thing is, it's not just us. It's not just people and Black people, right? I have friends who are Vietnamese. I have friends who are Filipino, and they'll tell me that they're watching to see if the nose has a certain shape to it. Are the ears? You know, these are all things that we know in the Black community, because when a child is born with darker ears, then there's a worry that their complexion will
get darker. Yep.
We all know that one, but it's not just our community. Colorism is in any community where there's a history of oppression by either a colonial nation or white folks in general. That's where it comes from. And we're acting it out. We're acting out the remnants of that oppression on each other.
Wow, that was a mouthful right there. That was a lot, because as you were talking, that was just already reminding me of so many different things that I've either learned about, not necessarily in school, but that I've learned about or experienced. So thank you for breaking that down for us and giving us, as well as our audience, like something deeper to kind of look at as well. Eden, obviously, you know, she knew something about that already. So, I just wanted to say something to the part of this isn't just a Black thing.
Yeah.
Now I have heard in the past where in Asian culture, where the mainstream people that they show or what they show on TV is oftentimes the lighter complexion Asian people. We never really got to see Asian people who had curly hair or who were brown skin or darker skin. The same with like people from India. Like I remember working at this place one time, and it was an Indian couple that came in like from India, and it was actually a hospital, so they serviced a lot of people, so they had a lot of different people coming through there, and I just was so amazed to see like the dad was so dark. He didn't have like curly hair. His hair was still like straight and stuff like that, and really silky and smooth. But I was so surprised that like they were just like darker than I am.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that it was anything wrong with it. It was just something I wasn't used to seeing. Usually, you know, the Indian girls, oh, I got Indian in my blood. Not Native American. We're not talking about just Native American, but you know, just oh yeah, we remember here, you know, my hair is silky straight. I'm light skinned too, you know, that good hair and da 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 da. I never seen it before. So I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
And it just goes to the fact that what you're saying, like how there is a privilege, especially in certain roles, especially like TV and advertisement and all of that kind of stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, when you see your first dark skin, as a dark skinned person growing up, when you see a person who resembles you, it does something for you. You feel like you belong. But if you never see yourself as the model, you never see yourself as beautiful. You don't see, like, if we're shown, darker skinned people are shown as mammies, they're shown as tough and rough, like overweight, all those things that make us like less attractive. And they can be dark, big, and beautiful, but you rarely see someone portrayed that way. And it takes the studio and it takes us to fight against those ways of blocking us out of the story. I know I remember the first time I got excited was with Pam Grier, because I was raised in the 70s. And so it was Black exploitation, and Pam Grier was everywhere. And she had my name, but she wasn't light skinned, and she was beautiful. You know, Pam Grier is still beautiful. And so for me, it was like, that was the first probably dark skinned person on TV that I identified with.
Yeah, I think that for me, two things that gets under my skin, and you guys mentioned it, is the good hair thing.
Yeah.
You know, because I got good hair. Okay.
Yeah.
But why does good hair have to only be the silky straight hair? You know, the hair that we run and go and get in bundles because, you know, we want to get our little sew in or whatever. You know, that's one thing that really gets under my skin. Another thing that gets under my skin is the whole, right now, where we are now, like I've heard people say like, oh, you know, well, dark-skinned women are getting their credit now. They're in. But dark-skinned women and all Black women, all women in general, have always been beautiful. Yeah. So, you know, this whole "it's our moment to shine" thing, it really, really, really bugs me. Like, come on, y'all gotta do better. Because at the end of the day, like you said, Black is Black. Whether you're dark, light, medium, whatever you want to call it, Black is Black. And another thing that I kind of want to touch on that you said yesterday when we spoke was the slave comment.
Slave comment, yes.
If if we were in slavery, the lighter complexion woman said, I would be in the house and you would be in the field. And then the darker skinned woman said, if we were in slavery, we would be in slavery. Yes. Period. Like, yes. It doesn't make it any better. Like, come on.
But it's funny because actually it was the other way around. The light-skinned woman was saying, she was the one pushing against what the dark-skinned woman was saying.
Okay.
You would be in the house, meaning you would gain the benefits of being in the house. But I think we also didn't know, because I don't remember learning until I was an adult and way into my adult years about the assaults that were happening in those households. And there's a book called They Were Her Property that talks about white women and the way white women were beating on their enslaved in the household, that you can't even begin to think about the way that, there's some horrible stories, but we don't really hear about them because I think it's because they're light skinned, they're in the house, they're getting better, everything, but they're also close to being assaulted because they're in the house all the time.
Right.
So there's something to be said about that. But she was right. Like, if you're enslaved, no matter what your proximity is, you are still a property when you're human. So yeah, I totally get it. And then if you look at even, if you look at any of the primary source documents from that time period, and you look at how much they're being sold for, even the description of the quote unquote mulatto is very sexualized. The darker skinned is very physical, stocky, strong, right? And so the light fair, delicate. And that sticks with us.
So yeah, that is so crazy. It takes the femininity, first of all, out of a darker skinned woman.
Yes.
Number one.
Yes.
And then it tells you that the lighter skinned woman is only good, or more so gonna be more satisfying in a sexual way.
Yep.
It's definitely giving off very much of the grass is not greener on the other side, man.
Yeah.
Very much that the grass is not greener on the other side, and even in that case though, I think oftentimes it even could have been that way though to women that were enslaved, them thinking anyway, oh, look at her, it caused that division.
Yeah.
Oh, look at her. She thinks she's something because she's waiting on this person, or she's doing this, or she's doing that.
Yeah.
And she thinks she's something because she could just wave all in front of me like that.
Right.
But, but not even realizing to the point that, first of all, we all struggling. And it's the same thing now. To where in job forces and in careers and different things like that, where baby, you still black. It really reminds me of a song Jay-Z put out, which I think I sent this in a SisterTalk group chat.
Yeah,
I think it's called 444, and it's about OJ.
Oh, yes.
He like light, dark, you know what I mean? You still OJ, you still black, you not nothing different, you're not to say you're not nothing special, but we're all on the same playing field. And when we get to the point to where we can really be on one accord, that's when we can conquer the world. You know what I'm saying?
They want you to be. So even if you look at how oppressed peoples would unite, because we are all the darker skin hues,
right?
That's the last thing they want. That's the last thing they want, because we are actually minoritized in this country, but we are the global majority. Black people are the global majority. So the last thing you want is for people to think about that. But it breaks my heart with women. It really breaks my heart with women because, like you have that competition that's just built in. It's a part of evolution. It's like if you get the attention,
exactly,
you get yourself into the next generation. So I get the anthropology of it all, but it's still the cultural piece of tearing someone down because their melanin is darker.
or
Yeah.
tearing someone down, even because their melanism is lighter. You know, you think she cute, you know,
Right. She likes
she is
skin.
cute.
Right.
And then my thing is, you know, like, how often do I hear, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but how often do I hear that lighter skinned women are called strong and all of those things? But as a darker skinned, full figured woman, I'm always strong and not in need of protection. Because like you said,
that is true.
They take our femininity away. And I'm not saying I'm a damsel in distress, but sometimes I don't want to be strong, but I have
Period. Come on. Say that.
Because no one's strong for me. And I don't know how many times I've said, why didn't you stand up for me? Why didn't you say more? And they'll say, oh, well, I thought you had it. I thought you were strong. No, I am eggshell strong. I appear to be strong, but that takes a toll. Whenever you have to fight the world and your own people,
right?
You see stereotypes. It's like, what does that do for you? Well, that's pushing you towards unhealthy coping. Every one of these every one of these things has a consequence on us, an impact on us, and it's how we're taken in the world. It's how the pain is living in our body, the trauma is living in our body, and we are losing sisters. So we know that we lost Miss USA last week, stepped off a building. And if you look on her TikTok, fair-skinned woman, if you look on her TikTok, they were tearing her down. Some of them were our people. I'm not saying it was all colorism, but they were tearing her down. And she was fighting the good fight until she couldn't fight anymore. Black women and our mental health is taking a toll because of this. This is one of the things that's causing Black women to have poor mental health.
Yeah.
Because we have a poor
when you
told about us.
When you really put the two together like that, definitely agree. I would definitely have to agree with that for sure. And so, okay, so my next question, I didn't even really come with no questions, but now that the conversation is just going, would be, do you guys think that not only, so we talked about how, you know, in society or what have you, but it's just reminding me of all of the struggles that we currently face as Black women as a whole. Do you think that there is a discrepancy also in the medical field when it comes to darker skinned women and fair tone women? Or lighter skinned women, because there has also been a lot of news in regards to, because first of all, the reason why I said that is because we just talked about how darker skinned women are more so described to be strong and things like that. And then you know that there has been a different rise in regards to, or attention going towards how medical professionals do not often prescribe us with certain things until it's the last minute. Even if we are saying, no, I'm actually in physical pain, sir. I need some assistance. Can you help me? You know, begging sometimes for medical attention, and they'll be like, oh, what's the pain scale? You say it's an 11. No, I think maybe it's a 7. You know, let's just wait it out and see what happens. So do you think that there is anything that has, you know, fallen over into that aspect as well? Would you, I don't know, would you say that?
I was wondering how you felt about things when, I mean, you had a baby and everything. I mean, I had a hysterectomy, so I have some thoughts, but I did have good care. But also I only use, well, my primary care doctor is a white woman, but my OBGYN was a Black woman.
Okay.
I would not have made that decision if she
because too many times Black women are told to have hysterectomies because we have fibroids. And she was a person that I could trust that said, Pam, you have to get this done. But too often we're told to do those things. And I could go into the history of that, even with OBGYN and gynecology, the early people that they were testing it on they were Black enslaved women, and with no anesthesia.
No anesthesia.
Right. So, and often Black women are sterilized and not told that they're sterilized. And this is into this century, you know. So for me, the part, I'm just thinking about my brother, and I'm thinking about myself and people I know. It is rare that we're seen as, like I would say, they think we have a higher tolerance for pain.
It's a higher tolerance, yes.
So it's like they think it's a physical thing that we could take a lot of pain, and I don't like any pain. But you do, because it's generational trauma. So you do like hold on to a lot of pain because you don't want to deal with a doctor. A lot of my family, you know, like my mom is very good about like getting us to go to the doctor, but I don't like going to the doctor because you know you're not going to be treated fairly. Right. And when I had to get my pain medication, it was a mixture. It was like they didn't give me straight up like I guess the narcotic. They gave me a mix, and it gave me a mix because of course they're worried that you're going to get addicted. But I would talk to my non-Black friends, and I don't remember hearing them talk about a mixture.
Right.
You know, so I can only speak for my experience. I wasn't in the hospital long, but towards the end of my stay, the care dwindled. Like, because one, it's like I had permission for my medical insurance to stay 5 days. After 2 days, they wanted me out of there. I could have stayed for 5 days. So I wound up staying for 3 because my care was starting to diminish. And after a while, people weren't even coming in to check on me. And so that's when I knew that I had to move on. So that's just what I experienced. I don't know that I haven't experienced like as a lighter skinned person to have a better experience, because I just feel like Black women are not listened to about our health. But if you're fair skinned and let's say you have the pretty privilege, then they may be more willing to listen to you, because that's a whole other thing with pretty privilege. But,
yes, that is.
But yeah, I mean, I think as a whole, Black women aren't listened to enough with our health.
Okay. I agree with that. I definitely can agree with that. I felt that the whole time I was in labor. I was like, help, please, somebody come help me. They laid me there for days. I laid there and came for 3 days. And I do feel like it had a lot to do with my skin color, because well, at first I didn't know, I was in pain. I wasn't paying attention to what was going on. But my mother pointed it out, and there were other like white women in labor and delivery who were getting care like this. Like at one point we thought that my little call button didn't even work. I'm just like, what's happening? Like, what's going on? And you can hear it going off at the front desk. Nobody's coming,
wow.
And it was a really bad experience for me. Like I wanted to sue the hospital. It was that bad. I had one nurse, and I cannot remember her name, but she was an angel. She was a middle-aged white woman.
Always that one.
She took care of me. That third day, after laying there in just all the pain, she came in and she's like, I'm going to do something. I don't know what, but I'm going to do something. We're going to get this baby out of you. Because I remember, Miss D, I think you posted on my Facebook page, like, has anybody heard from her? Like, what's going on? Like, what is happening? Like,
I get on baby watch.
They just let me. I laid there for 3 days. I probably could have had her the second day or the first day I was there, but that one nurse, she came and she was like, "I'm gonna find a surgeon, somebody. We're about to get the baby out of you because this is ridiculous. Your heart rate is dropping, the baby's heart rate is dropping, and nobody's coming in here to do anything." And she did what she said she was going to do. 20 minutes later, about 20 people came in the room. I'm looking around like, what y'all doing? Why is there so many of you? And they came and they took me to surgery, and I finally had a baby. But had not had her, like, what would have happened? Y'all was just gonna leave me there?
Yeah.
So I definitely feel like in the medical field, you know, as Black women, we get treated unfairly, we get treated poorly, and it's not right. It is not right at all. So I can agree with what you said. I've experienced it. I've been there, so it happens. By you, T.
So for me, I don't want to, I know we talking about colorism, so, but for me, I just was super scared going into it because I did a lot of research and I had saw a lot of things. And right before I gave birth to Eden, this YouTuber that I followed, she died in labor due to the lack of care and the lack of them attending to her while she was in the hospital. And she was stating that she was in pain, like in great pain. And the only person that was there to speak for her, especially because it was during COVID time when I had Eden. So the only person she had there to speak for her was her husband. And he attested that the hospital did not failed his wife.
I think
so.
I think I know.
Yeah. So for me, I was telling my child's father, I said, "Listen here, sir. You better know every right that I got because you want to be there. You have to, you have to advocate for me." Yeah. But even to that point, because you were saying about how, sometimes you can't be strong all the time. And oftentimes we are thought to be strong. And it's like we're trained to be stronger too. Like we just get that. We just pick it up from generation to generation that we should be stronger. Like I had to tell Deb, like, nah, bruh. In this situation, I definitely need you to be strong for me.
Yeah.
Which is also a whole nother part of this whole thing. In regards to like even our men, it's like for real when you see like the activists, a lot of times the people that's out here when somebody's getting killed, or the ones that's gonna step to the police when it's some type of craziness going on. Sorry if my vernacular getting a little ghetto, but that's how it is. And we will carry like them on our backs. You know what I'm saying? But still it's because, oh, we want you to be strong, but we don't want you to be that strong. Let us be strong enough. Like it's like, okay, now,
but it's
well, what you want though?
Them being strong is them being out front. Them being strong is them being out front, and we're supposed to be supportive.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I totally get what you're saying, but I've been saying, and I'm sure I read it somewhere, I'm not this bright, but I feel like being strong is a trauma response. I will always say that, just from the therapy that I've been in, it feels like a trauma response. And it's actually, for me, being strong is like I'm responding to the fact that no one's standing up for me.
Right. I can feel that.
So can we talk about our personal experiences with colorism, whether it be us judging somebody else or somebody judging us, or maybe something that just hurt you, but that other person didn't even know that they kind of hurt your feelings when they said that, but it was just something that society has programmed into them, that you may not have necessarily held them to because they just didn't know better, or they did know better and they just was being grimy.
How much time we got?
I think we got to do a part 2.
I mean, I can think of a lot of things, but one thing that really stands out to me is when I first decided to go natural, you know, it was like, why you want to do that? You know, and this is, I don't want to call anybody out, but it was my mother. But, you know, it's like, you know, it's nothing wrong with getting a relaxer. I mean, why would you want your hair to be nappy like that? Like, this is our natural state. Like, what do you mean? So what you're saying is, don't be what I preach here on this show, and that is my authentic self. So I went back and forth with her about that for a while, but guess who's natural now? So that is one thing that really stands out to me. Like, I'm not gonna go like, you know, all into it, but that was an issue for a minute. Like, I just don't understand why this is.
Do you think it was your greater hair mixed with your skin tone, or I mean, because you know, we all got some.
I think so. I think it was a combination of a lot of things. It was my greater hair, it was my skin color, it was the shape of my face, even, because at one point she was like, you look like a boy, because
we get that a lot.
You know, so she's like, well, if you're gonna wear your hair like that, you need to make sure that you wear some earrings, because you look like a boy. And I'm just like,
that's why Eden had to get earrings.
Yes. But no, I do feel like it had a lot to do with my skin complexion, because I did feel like if I was more fair skinned, maybe had some green eyes with my short haircut, you know, people would be a little more receptive to that. So for me, I was just like, I'm gonna just do it. Period. What about somebody else?
What about you, Miss D?
So mine are all awful, but I'm better now. But when I was in elementary school and when I was at the babysitter, they would give me the burnt potato chips. So my brother was lighter, like he was probably T's complexion. They would always give me the burnt potato chips in the bag. That was always something I will remember. Like, they would pass out the chips and I always got the burnt ones. And then I remember all the names. So it was Creature from the Black Lagoon, Smoke Smut, Darth Vader, like all of those names. But then it went from that to Dark and Lovely, right? So
right.
Dark and Lovely, darker the berry is sweeter the juice. All sexual. And so I think that in high school, I think that's where people started to pay more attention. But I think I told you folks this yesterday, or I know this story, but in the 3rd or 4th grade was the first time I'd heard that I was pretty. And it was a teacher who said it, because we got our class pictures back, and Miss Harvey, who's changed my whole life trajectory, but Miss Harvey saw my picture. It was the reflection picture where you're looking off and you're looking in front. And she said, look at that.
Yes.
Like, look at that pretty baby. And I was like, I'm pretty, you know, and so that was the first time. And then I think towards like later part of high school, I think I came into my own of feeling that I was pretty, but I had rarely been told that I was pretty. So those messages.
Yeah.
So the only thing I'll say, and then I'll shut up, is when you don't think you're pretty, you do what you need to do to get attention. And it might not be positive attention.
Right.
I would say that was my youth. It was not positive attention, but I was trying to get attention. So even though I was doing my book stuff, I still, when I think about like men, like I was doing the negative way of getting their attention, because it couldn't be my face, it couldn't be my intellect, so it must be my shape that I could use to get their attention. And it took years to undo that thinking.
Well, you always
wow.
You always been a bad.
Not you always been a bad. For me, I think we're gonna go over time, so it's fine. Because I do have one more question. But for me, I had a best friend. She was high yellow. Okay. My older sister, on my mom's side, Dominique, she was very dark. And so I was like in the middle. You know, I was always just like in the middle. Like, I'm not really light, I'm not really dark, I'm just milk chocolate. And I used to ride this milk chocolate wave out like, well, I'm milk chocolate. However, it wasn't until I want to say I was like in the 9th or 10th grade. And now my friend that was my best friend, who was like high yellow, she got a lot more attention than I did.
Yeah.
I was the gangster friend, you know what I'm saying? I was the one that was like the mama kinda, or the protector type friend. Naturally, I feel like I always held my weight, but when guys wanted to holla, I wasn't the one that was getting that primary amount of attention. Light skins was in. She had a weird shaped nose, but everything else was like fine with her. And she had like green eyes, like green hazel eyes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and she was light skinned. And so she definitely skated through, to say the least.
Yeah.
To say the least. Now I did have now this one comes to mind. So I have a cousin who is who's dark skinned, and we used to go out to the club. And the club would let us in for free, typically. But this time, ironically, her name is Brittany as well. This time I had my cousin Brittany with me. I was so upset. So we went, we stood in line, oh yeah, you dressed up. Okay, y'all can skip the line, come on. So my friend goes in front of me. You know how the girls, they all holding hands. We all like right in the line behind each other. She goes in front of me. Another friend goes. I go. I'm holding Brittany's hand, my cousin Brittany's hand. And I'm like, okay, yeah, she with us. Do you know? Don't chew on that. Do you know that the guy at the door said, oh no, it's 20 for her?
A brother?
Yep.
No.
Right at the door.
If it was
Cleveland.
eating, your mama said it
downtown was. Cleveland. He said, no,
I believe that.
It's 20 for her. And I was like, well, we not coming in. None of us not going, because no, like absolutely not. I don't care who in here. No, man.
That sounds like a story about Chris Brown where he said no darkies.
The craziest thing though, I never would have, me personally, I would have never thought. And I've never really experienced it because of the shade of my skin. Like, maybe I was too skinny, or you know what I'm saying, or my teeth was crooked at first. Maybe they threw shade because of that. I had a big forehead, but it was never it was nothing wrong with her though. Her body was built, you know what I'm saying? She looked fine. She had her makeup done, the uniform, or not uniform, the dress code was up to par. We knew we was going to the club. So we know what club we going to. You gotta have no jeans. I think it was like no jeans, no white tees, or something crazy like that. And it was like, are you really dead serious? And me being me, like y'all don't know me, but I was like, what? Are you really serious? I was ready to fight because what? Like, no, this is my cousin. She's coming with me. She's with us. I said she's with us.
Right.
And it was just super crazy to me. And it really, I think it really hurt her feelings. Yeah. But because we were all there, it was just like, oh, we'll go over here or we'll go over there. I think that was maybe one of the nights that I actually ran into you, Brittany, downtown at Panini's. Later that night. But yeah, and it was super crazy to me because like I said, I had never experienced it. Now I wanted to talk about give me just a second. I have to get my train of thought back. About in relationships, Do you ever feel like you were brave enough to, you know, reach out to a male or a guy, and then he declined respectfully, disrespectfully, whatever, and then you saw later, like, oh, like, so for real, you just like light-skinned girls?
Well,
How did that make you feel? I'm just saying.
I've been in a situation like that before. Miss D, you probably know him too, but I ain't gonna say that. I don't say no name. But I think we talked about this before. We talked about this before in one of our episodes about women approaching males, and I do that. Well, not now because I don't have to, but you know. So the one particular person that went to school with me, I think he was he might have been like a year younger than me. You know, I like him young. So I slid in the DMs like, hey, you know, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a few years, whatever. You want to go like hang out or something? And he's like, oh, okay, cool. Let me go look at your pictures real quick because I don't remember you. So I didn't even think about it like, let me go look at your pictures real quick. I'm thinking like, oh, okay, well, it's been a while. Okay. So like 15, 20, 30 minutes go by. I don't hear anything. I'm like, okay. So I wait a little longer because, you know, I ain't pressed for nobody. Okay. So I finally just like hit him up like, hey, you know, are we linking up or whatever? And he's like, well, you're not really like my type. And I'm like, okay, I wasn't trying to marry you, but okay. And so he told me, I'll rip, like, I like lighter skinned girls, like you just not what I'm looking for. And I'm like, all right, I respect it or whatever, that's cool. Sweetheart, you cute, but you ain't that cute, first of all. And second of all, like, I just feel like you could have did that a different way. Like, I get it, you know, you have this like girl fetish or whatever, but
and it's a fetish. Yeah, yes, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Say
it's
that.
a fetish.
There's some people with the dark skin girl fetish too.
Yeah. So I that's the only time that I've ever really been in a situation like that. I was shocked. Like, wow, you're really bold. Okay, you know, my feelings are not hurt. Trust me. But
I mean, dropping some DMs.
I was in the DM, Miss D. I was in the DM, but yeah, that's all I got.
Okay. What about you, Miss D?
Yeah, I don't date a lot, but I don't feel like it was because I was dark skinned, but who knows, right? I would say that I just never felt like I was the one, you know? Like I had a healthy relationship for 4 years with a Black man. I never felt like my skin tone was an issue. But out here dating in my 20s, it did feel like what you're saying, like you go out but my friends are kind of like dark skin. And so I don't really feel like we were like kept out of clubs or anything because there were some young women, but I have a very beautiful light-skinned friend, and I feel like I actually benefited from her getting into the club because I could get in with her. But eating, I don't think so. I just think that I just never felt like, you know, like the commitment, like they would have the fun, but they wouldn't have the commitment. And I don't think it could be, but I don't think it was because I was dark skinned. I just feel like there are certain types that you commit to, and there's certain types you have fun with. And I felt like I was always the one you were trying to have fun with. I was in my 20s, and then, you know, you start raising and become your own high value person, and it's like, I'm not gonna mess around, let people mess around with me. But you have mentality, but who knows, it could have been that, but they weren't for me. I don't want somebody like that. I do not want somebody, because then you'll be insecure with that person, because they can't accept you in this package you come in. I'm good.
Exactly. Well, we are going to go ahead and wrap it up. Now we do have a video that we want all of our viewers to stay tuned and watch. I'm not sure if we're going to put it at the end or at the beginning. However, please check it out. The full video will be linked in the description below. So please check it out. And before I do any closing, I just want to make sure that we said everything that we wanted to say. Listen, okay, baby, love that melanin. Yes. Period. Yeah. Every ounce of it. It's people out here getting skin cancer because they ain't got enough melanin. Okay, yeah. They ain't got enough. Let's just say that. So just love the skin you in. This is a book that I remember from growing up, and you just gotta love the skin that you are in, how God created you and how he made you, because it's only one you and only you could be you, period.
Man.
Black is beautiful in every shade, regardless if you're high yellow or low yellow. Look.
On that note,
high yellow, low yellow. Or if you are mahogany, okay? I don't know what is the darkest color, but whatever it is, you're black and love it, okay? Yes. Amen. So we hope, y'all, we hope that we have engaged you in some sassy conversation while Eden got me disappearing over here.
We still hear you though.
Empowered you to be your authentic self with all that melanin, okay? And we hope that we encouraged you to the next level, okay? Whatever that level may be for you, baby. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have anything that you want us to talk about, please shoot us an email or follow us on our social media platforms. Our social media is SisterTalk with LTB on all social media. And if you want to email us, it is sistertalkwithltb@gmail.com. Thank y'all for watching. Thank you, Sister Talk.
And thank you to our guests once again. We appreciate you.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you, girl. Yes.
You're like, I'm good. I'm 17.
Until next time, Sister Talkers.
Thank you.
Bye.
Love what you folks are doing. All right.
When you think about studies that show that women of lighter skin tones get complimented more in general in a range of things than women of, or young girls of darker skin tones. So if you're talking about even just in the school setting, you have two young girls who both do a great job. They both get A's on something, let's say, and the young woman who is of a lighter skin tone gets complimented and commended more. That's where your self-esteem comes from. That's what you start to believe. And how often are you reinforcing things and that you may not even realize you're reinforcing?
I remember I would say 9th grade, I thought, like, what if it just wasn't here? It'd just be easier. But, like, the only thing that got me through that was, like, my mom telling me and my friends, especially Kamaya, just, like, being there. And, having someone to talk to, it just made me think, like, I can't leave them. Because it keeps me, like, coming to school every day and, like, just, like, the smile on my face sometimes.
It's painful.
It is. Because it shouldn't happen to anyone. We shouldn't have to hate ourselves because of the color of our skin. And the fact that I had to talk one of my best friends out of not wanting to be like that because the color of our skin, about the fact that we're just so bad. It's not right. You have to love yourself and love the others around you and know that you're gonna be okay. And you have to stay strong.